Welcome to Why They Play the Game, a show created to discuss the NBA on and off the court. I'm just one of your hosts, Michael Eric Owens.
And I'm Ken Hayes.
What's going on, my brother?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, listen, the playoffs are, man, they are underway, Ken. They
Full
are
swing.
thick, full swing, folks. And before we get into this discussion, hit that like and that subscribe and that notification button because, hey, we are in the thick of things, Ken. We want to talk about what has transpired so far in the playoffs, and we're gonna break this down for y'all, folks. And we appreciate all your comments and everything that is happening. And we want to start, Ken. Let's start with that Eastern Conference, and we know that Boston is up 2-1. The Heat came in and gave them a run for their money in Game 2,
Right.
and stole it. So, what are your thoughts? This is coming from NBA.com. This is the playoffs breakdown. Ken, so look at that series there, Celtics and Heat. What are your thoughts?
Mike, I'll say this: in game 2, Boston just wasn't ready to play, or their focus wasn't there. Sometimes Boston gets like that. But yesterday, Mike, they just ramshacked the Heat. And the thing about it is the Heat, they're going to struggle to score without Jimmy Butler. It just seemed like they didn't know who was going to, get baskets for them. And I think Boston, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, they all had 20 apiece. So, and I said from the beginning that, this should be either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep in this series. I just didn't, even with Butler in there, I just didn't see Boston losing the series. So I think it will go that way. I think Boston, they're playing. I would say they're playing well. They shared the basketball yesterday, and that was a good thing. So the Heat is just suffering. They just need buckets from somebody, and I just think Hero can't do it by himself. Bam is, he's played well. Can't knock him for that, but it's just that they got to have let's just say a full team contributions from everybody to just to be competitive with Boston. So I just don't see where the Heat is going to get those points from. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, my criticism of Boston all year long, Ken, has been when they not hitting their threes. If you look at Game 2, they were outshot by by the Heat from the 3-point line. I mean, the Heat had the best shooting, I think, of their franchise history from 3, and Boston struggled. And when Boston are not making their threes, they are not a difficult team to beat. But you notice the adjustment that they made coming into Miami. Oh man, they put that ball on the ground. They went to the bucket. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think Spoelstra he didn't adjust for. He thought they would come out and start shooting threes. So there's going to be another adjustment. I agree with you when the season started that Boston was going to win, but I thought it was going to be a competitive series, even if Boston wins in 5 or 6. I didn't think they were going to be able to blow them out every game. And I thought that I think Miami's still going to win a game in this series. I think Spoelstra's going to, I think he's going to make an adjustment. And I think it's going to be a very difficult win for Boston, even without Jimmy Butler. If they had Butler, Boston would be in trouble. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think if they had Butler, I don't think Boston would win this series. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Why. The Heat are just outworking them. Man. If the Heat decide to, if Boston is in a point where they're not making their threes, they just get outworked. They don't put in the work. And Porzingis, again, man, he's got to show it to me that he can be more consistent on the highest level, and I just can't see it, man. It's they when Miami's gonna make some adjustments. Spolstra is a good coach, man. All the hype about him is legitimate, and I just think they're not done in that series. Boston had no choice. Boston had to come out and play the way they did. They had to have that hyper focus. They had to, and they did. And I pat them on the back for that. That was a bounce back game for them. But
Okay.
that's why they play the game. So we'll
Yeah, that's true.
we'll see. But we both agree. I mean, the Celtics should win this series, and they should not even be threatened by losing the series. But I just think we're seeing where the difference between a Boston and a Denver, we're seeing the difference in that. In a championship team and a team that's just not there, that's not ready for a championship, in my opinion. But we both agree the Celtics should win that, just in what fashion they will. So, man,
Okay.
that Cleveland, Ken, and Magic series tied up now. Magic went back home after getting pretty much blasted in Cleveland, but came back, man, fought back and punched them in the throat the last game. Series is 2-2. What are your thoughts, my brother?
Man, I think, Mike, Cleveland was up yesterday by 10 at halftime, which, man, they just fell apart. It didn't seem like they were working together. I mean, it was just more ISO than anything. A lot of missed open jump shots from Cleveland in the second half. Magic just came with more effort than Cleveland. They played harder. They played more as a team. I'll say this: I am, like I said, surprised that Cleveland is in this position. This should be 3-1 right about now, in my opinion. But you got to play the game. I think Cleveland. I think Garland needs to get more touches. When I say that, I mean be a little bit more selfish, because Mike, to me, in the Eastern Conference, he's top 5 point guards in the Eastern Conference. But I just don't see. I mean, I know Mitchell's putting up a lot of shots, but you got to give this boy some touches, Mike, because I don't think he's getting as many touches as he should. So but you got to give it to Orlando. Banchero, he's playing well. And then I think that they're trying to prove that they belong here. So they got a chip on their shoulder. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think we both picked Cleveland to win the series. So I think right now Orlando has the advantage right about now. It's tied up 2-2. So
I agree, Ken. I think Cleveland, to me, just was a team I felt like went up 2-0 very easily and just dropped their guard. And now the Magic has the momentum going back to Cleveland. I still think Cleveland's going to win. But the Magic, they grew up, man. Like you say, they're saying we deserve to be here. We're the 5th seed. And they grew up. Paolo had a great game. Wagner had a serious game, man. The younger brother, he had a serious. He was hooping, man. He was like,
he had some attitude too.
Yeah, he did, man. He came to ball, man. I was like, okay, this is what it takes. And I'm not a big believer in Cleveland, but I think you would agree we believe more in Cleveland than the Magic at this point, simply because of the veterans that are on the Cavaliers. But I think this might go 7, Ken.
Yeah, you could be right, man. Based on based on talent wise, it shouldn't. But talent is not everything. You got to play together, and sometimes the other team looks to play better on a team concept than just too talented. The thing with Cleveland, Mike, they need I'll say this going forward, they need a number 3 to go farther as far as competing in the East. So, but that's just that's just a thought.
Yeah. And again, I think with Garland and Mitchell, I still think that's if Mitchell does stay, that's still a year off in working. I just think it's very difficult for those two guys to really gel together in crunch times because they're both ball dominant. They both can break you down off the dribble. And I just think for them, they're not the type of guys that go sit in the corner and wait. So you got two alpha dogs out there. And I think and that's the thing with Kyrie and Luka, although they're playing well together, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. I just think sometimes in those crunch moments, man, it's like, who do you defer to? Who is the de facto leader? And I think Cleveland has that problem a lot throughout the game. But I still, like you, Ken, I still agree that they're going to win this thing. Now let's look at these Bucks and this Pacers. We know that it's 2-1 now, man. The Bucks haven't been healthy all year long. Let's be honest. With Chris missing as many games as he did, and Giannis, second year in a row, he's out for the first. Now he's missed 3 games. I mean, last year he missed 2.5. Now it's 3 games. Who knows if he's going to come back and play today? Dame, the last game, re-aggravated his Achilles, and he was limping around in the fourth quarter, told Doc he couldn't do anything. He was going to try to be a decoy. And so, man, when you look at the Bucks, man, I mean, Ken, what are your thoughts?
Mike, Dame is out for today's game. Giannis is out. And now, even let's just say if this series goes 7 games, Giannis won't play. I don't think that's from what I can gather and everything else. Mike, the Bucks are in trouble right about now. Who's going to step up for Milwaukee? That is, Middleton had 42 the other night.
Played he had a monster game,
right?
Man.
He sent it into overtime. And the thing about it is that you gotta, when your stars are out, who's going to step up and take that mantle? I can't tell you. I really can't. I mean, Bobby may have a good game or not, but tell me who's going to come off the bench and, give you that boost. The Pacers, they played, I would say, game 2, a better game than they had in game 1. And then they went home and said, hey, this is our home court. Great game. Probably, I won't say one. Yeah, it was one of the best games I've seen in the playoffs so far was game 3 the other night. But the thing about it, Mike, the Bucks are I said they weren't, even if they had Giannis, they were not going to win that series. That was my prediction. I mean, I know, everybody's hurt. And you can't make that excuse in the playoffs. Either either you win or you go home. So if Milwaukee has to steal this game this evening or they going home, that's.
Well, again, man, if we look at any of those series, if we look at Boston and the Heat and we said Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, it changes the whole series.
Oh, it does.
If we go to Cleveland and we say Mitchell's and Garland are gone, I mean, it changes the whole series. So, I mean, at this point, the Bucks are lame duck. They didn't come into the playoffs healthy. Even the game before that, Chris Middleton twisted his ankle, had to go out and came back in, but he was questionable and had a monster game. I mean, that was positive to see Chris put in that type of work, man, because he was balling, man. But when Dame got hurt, you can't make an excuse, but it's part of the narrative,
right?
And so the Bucks stand no chance of winning this series without their 2 best players. And we don't even have to snatch the Bucks name out there. We can throw any one of these playoff teams in there and we say if Kyrie and Luka were gone, they don't have a chance of beating the Clippers. I mean, I get what
you're saying.
There's no stepping up. I mean, you can't replace your two best superstars and expect that you're going to compete for a championship. So, Bucks
But
fan, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but it's the way
Mike,
it is.
Mike, game one, I'll say a week ago when Dame went off for, I think,
Mm-hmm.
35 in the
In the
first
first half.
half. I mean, the rest of the players in the second half, let's just say took control,
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, but the thing about it, and I understand what you're saying, and I get what you're saying, but for the Bucks just to be competitive, I just need to know, you know, who's going to step up. I mean, they're a veteran team. They're the oldest team in the NBA. So I understand that Dame gone, Giannis gone. Somebody has to step up. That's just the bottom line. But let me finish. And
Mm-hmm.
I get it. That's probably about just on the conservative side. That's 40 to 50 points that that you get on a regular basis with those two gone. So I'm just saying being competitive. I mean, if they win or lose, I need somebody to step up. That's all what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think too, you have to consider you're not only, with Dame and and Giannis, you're losing close to 50 points. Let's just be honest.
Right.
With both of them gone.
Yeah.
And you're just not losing close to 50 points. You're losing rebounding. Like the other night, the Bucks could not get a rebound. And Giannis is their leading rebounder. So you're missing rebounders. And Dame and Giannis also lead the team in assists. So when you talk about other guys got to step up, those guys are getting their shots because of the way Giannis and Dame spaces the floor. So you don't have to, there is no spacing of the floor. So what I'm saying is these guys cannot step up because the only reason they excel is because of the activity of Dame, Giannis, Chris, and others. And you don't have that playmaker. The Bucks have zero playmaker. If Chris plays, he can be a playmaker, but all I got to do is just concentrate on Chris and say, let somebody else beat me.
Right.
Andy can't get his own shot. Brooke can't get his own shot. Beasley can't get his own shot. So you have all these guys that work off of your main superstars. So, I'll tell you, every team will look different if you take their top two guys.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't. Do I think the Bucks can be competitive without Giannis and Dame? Absolutely not. Not in the playoffs. Not under these circumstances. All they can do is try to go in there and outwork the Pacers.
Right.
That's the only thing that's going to give them a chance to go for every loose ball. They got to be scrappy. The defense has got to be tight. That's the only way. Because like you said, Ken, where's the scoring coming from? You're missing 50 plus points, not including, you're probably missing 75 because of the assists that they do. So where's the points going to come from? You have to make sure that Indiana does not score over 100 points. Because if they score over 100 points, they got you.
It's over.
Yeah. But I mean, it's listen, this is why they play the game. Health is extremely important. If you can't be healthy, you can't win a championship. And so I am, I know you picked the Pacers. I picked the Bucks to win this thing because I really thought Giannis was going to be able to come back by game 2. I thought he'd be back by game 2, man. We going on game 4, man. I'm like, no, there is, that's wishful thinking, man. You can't, and then Dame's not playing. Come on, man. That's, Indiana would have to come in and really lay an egg in order for these guys to win, man. So
Mike, on a side note, the series shifts back to Milwaukee on Tuesday, so I'll be at that game.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if I hope they, it's tied up, but we'll see what happens today.
Yeah. I doubt it, bro. It's gonna be 3-1 when they go back. It's gonna be 3-1. You can't win without your superstars. There's a reason why they're on your team, man. There's a reason why they're your leaders. They score the most points. They cause other teams to scheme for them. And when you don't have those in there, man, it's not hard to scheme for the Bucks, or it's not hard to scheme for any team, man. I mean, think about it, Ken. If we took Jokic and Murray off of Denver. I
It's a
mean,
different story.
it's
Right.
you would never expect for Denver to beat the Lakers without them, but with them,
Right.
and we're gonna talk about the Lakers here in a minute. But this last series, Ken, the Knicks and the 76ers, we know that the Knicks just stole one in Philly. But let me say this before you give your commentary on this, man. I'm gonna tip my hat to Joel Embiid. The man is dealing with some physical ailments, with the palsy in his face. He's got the knee going on, and he is out there balling. And so I want to tip my hat to him, man, because the criticism is that he doesn't play hurt, this, that, and the other thing. You can't ask for more from him, man. He had shown some true heart. But what's your take on that series?
Mike, right? I mean, New York is up 3-1, in which, in my mind, it should be let's just say 2-2. The game that the refs gave New York, but that's water under the bridge. I agree with you. Embiid has been a warrior. I think he played maybe 40 minutes today, over 40 minutes today. Brunson had a great game.
Yeah, Mike, a monster game.
I thought Tobias Harris was going to show up in this series, but has not. Philly is just giving up too many offensive rebounds. I think last time I counted, New York had 18 offensive rebounds. You just can't do that and win a game. So with New York being up 3-1, I just don't see the 76ers winning this series. I mean, I picked them to win the series, but I just don't see it. I mean, you got to have some other scoring besides Embiid and Maxey. So, and New York, they're playing free. All these offense rebounds, they're getting second chance points. I mean, they playing like they have nothing to lose. I mean, as a 2 seed.
Yeah, and I think the Embiid being hurt is just it. They've made a decision that we're all going to crash the boards, and Embiid is not 100%, so he can't dominate the boards like he would normally do, and so they're just gang rebounding, and Nurse has not figured out how to fix this problem, just like Doc has not figured out how to fix the Bucks' non-rebounding problem without Giannis. And Philly is running to the same thing. Who besides Maxey and Embiid, who is going to step up, Ken? Who? And as you talked about it, Tobias Harris. Okay, man, stop it. Okay, so Batum has this series, man. I don't know what's up with Batum. He's not even playing. He's playing like the old Batum. And so you have these guys. Lowry, he had what, 6 points today, 7 points, 8 points. Come on, you have to. The supporting cast in Philadelphia has been terrible. But can't think about it like this: when Embiid, as hurt as he is, and Maxey really being the only consistent other player on their team, Oubre has been off and on. He had a pretty decent game today, but when you look at them, they should have won. Matter of fact, they had a chance to win both of those, and every game's been close.
Yeah,
and so the problem is if some of those boys step up, this series, Philly can still win this series. But I think they have put themselves in such a deep hole. They have to go back to New York now, and
right.
and they got but they're capable because they've been in every one of those games, and one of those games was stolen from them. So I don't think they're sitting up here thinking to themselves, we can't win this thing, or they don't have confidence. They know that they have to be more consistent, as you say, Ken, and guarding the boards. They were 0 for 10 down the stretch and still almost won this game. They have to finish better. They have to figure it out. So, yes, we did predict Philly to win that series. but New York is definitely in control. So Ken, let's take a look at the West Coast now. Starting with the Thunder and the Pelicans. They are up 3-0.
Man, OKC is they playing out of their mind. The only game that really was competitive was game 2. But with Zion out, Brandon Ingram just not there, and that could be, injuries again. They just, they can't deal with OKC. I mean, SGA is, as I say, playing out of his mind. As far as I'm concerned, MVP. We have to talk about that on a later show, but and then also this series will be over pretty soon. It's going to give these young guys some rest, a little bit of rest. So I don't see anything changing. It's going to be a sweep, and I think the Pelicans, they have to just going forward, just have to get, let's just say, someone they need a backup point guard pretty bad, as far as I'm concerned, that can score. But that's a side note too. But I just this series is over, Mike. New Orleans, they're cooked, so there's really not much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, if Sacramento was the 8th seed, it'll be a much more competitive series. Ironically, they had the Thunder number, but the Pelicans had their number, which is kind of crazy. But
Right.
matchups makes fights, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not even competitive, man. That's going to be a sweep. They're going to get rest, like you say, and get back and look. And Brandon Ingram, there's something going on with him. There's something more simply than the game, and it happened in the Olympics. It's something with Brandon that he's got to figure out for himself how to play through these mental challenges that I think he, I remember, and he wasn't, participating well in the huddles during the timeouts and things of that nature, man. That one game they didn't put him back in. So I think there's just some things going on there that they need to iron out as a franchise, because you can't win without Brandon Ingram. And even if they had Zion, to me, Brandon is that's what drives that team. His play.
He's the glue.
Yeah, he is, man. And it just, it is what it is. So they going fishing. So let's look at that Clippers and Magic. That the game is being on. Is played right now. Dallas is up 2-1. Kawhi, we know he had mixed a bunch of games and then came back, so he's just now getting his win back. Ken, what do you see in that series?
Man, Dallas is in the driver's seat, Mike, and I picked the Clippers to win this series. I think Harden and Paul George, they had 16 points between the two of them in the last game they played. I think they'll come out a little bit more hungry, a little bit more focused. Mike, I'm gonna say this is that the Clippers, this is a must win for them, because if they lose, they down 3-1, and I don't see them coming back down 3-1. I'll say, Mike, I'll be shocked if the Clippers win today. I'll be shocked if they win today. They got a chance, but I just don't see it. I think Dallas has a lot of momentum going into this game, so we'll see what happens. But Dallas is playing well on both ends of the court, so we'll see. I mean, you tell me. Clippers in trouble.
Yeah, I picked Dallas in this series, so I felt like I just felt like, man, Kawhi missed too many games, man, coming up to the end of the season. I just felt like the rhythm wasn't going to be there. Dallas is just playing much, much better this year. They were going into the postseason looking really good, feeling good. So yeah, you're right, Ken. They're in that driver's seat. They're gonna. I mean, to me, it all depends on Kawhi. If Kawhi can be solid and play well and be engaged, then I think the Clippers. I think when James Harden is the best player on your team on the floor, you're in trouble, because I just think he's not going to close the deal for you. While James may give you a few games and he may look great in them, he's not going to close the deal for you. We've seen that in the past. You need another guy, and I just don't think I don't think the Clippers have it. And so, Ken, I'm gonna stay with my prediction that Dallas will get the Clippers. But I still think, it's a tough series, man, because the Clippers are a great team as well. But I'm gonna stick with that with those with my pick, the Mavericks. So,
Okay.
Ken, this
Ooh,
this
man.
this the Phoenix Suns, man. Are they going tonight? Will they be gone fishing?
They going fishing, Mike. Minnesota's Mike. Ant-Man is just taking over this series and
Yeah.
just having the series. I'm like, man, this young man is just doing his thing. The team is kind of, let's just say, looking for him as far as being the leader of this team. There's no question about it, and they're just following his lead, and he is not backing down from Beal, KD, Booker. He is going at him like it's no tomorrow, in which I just love.
Yeah.
KD, I mean, he can get you 20 with his eyes closed, Mike, but just seems to be off a little bit. But Mike, this series is over with. They may get one tonight, but I don't think it's going to happen. This is over with. They cooked.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, we picked Minnesota to win the series. We grapple with the idea of having, three, Hall of Fame players on your team. But Ken, what we see with the Suns is what we're seeing with teams that bring on new superstars and you don't get time to play together. Nobody should be shocked by these results. The Timberwolves have been playing together for years now, a few years. Ant-Man has developed. He's come along. You remember the time, Ken, when we were having that same discussion? Well, Karl-Anthony Towns and Ant-Man, whose team is it?
Yeah.
Okay, we were having those discussions, but Karl-Anthony Towns recognized what everybody else recognizes, that he's that dude.
Right.
And I'm here to support. He is our leader. He's the best player on this team. And when you get those egos out the way, just like Denver, there's no egos there. You get those egos out the way and you fall into your role. Ken, this is what you see. You see beautiful basketball. And man, come on. Ant-Man is having his way. They can do nothing with him. Anytime he wants to go to the basket, man, and score. His defense has been outstanding too. They getting swept. Okay, they going home. It's no way Phoenix is going to win because they don't play together as a team. They will be competitive for a while, but when it comes time, you always result back as a basketball player to your habits. And their habits are, I got this thing. And you can't have three guys on there that have that mentality. And so they're always going to struggle until they play more games together. And then somebody decides, Cam, this your team, or D-Book, this your team, or Bill, this your team. Until they do the Miami thing with Dwayne Wade and Bosh and the King, until they do that thing, Phoenix is forever going to be a disappointment. Those Nuggets and those Lakers, my brother.
Oh man, Mike. Lakers played well last night. Don't get me wrong, but this is over with too. Going back to Denver, Mile High, it's over with, Mike. But a lot of people were saying, oh, the Lakers got a chance, to beat Denver. they have no chance to beat Denver. Like I said, I'm predicting that Denver will repeat if they do or not. But the thing about it is that the Lakers, they won. They got a game last night, and it's just a matter of time. So
Ken,
so they'll play
Ken,
Tuesday.
ego and pride and selfishness will get you in trouble every time. Okay, you remember growing
Okay.
up. You know, I know your mom would tell us, don't, hey, keep your hand out the cookie jar. After you eat something, you can have a cookie. But no, you want that cookie now. And you go get that cookie and mom's find out and she put that
It's
little
over.
beat down on you. Okay, that's what's happening with the Lakers. Okay, they told them, no, just lay down. It's good. Take this loss. But the pride, we gonna win at least one game. Man, come on, Ken, stop it. The Lakers cannot compete against the Nuggets. They walk them down every time. And what was it, 13 times they beat them in a row?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you win one game. Stop it. Don't even say nothing, okay? Because you shouldn't have won that game. So, yes, when you go back, all you did was extend the inevitable, your disappointment. Yes. You got more nights of knowing that you're going to go fishing. All you did was just extend that for yourself. It's like you ate the cookie, but you know mom's is coming home and what's about to happen, and the cookie ain't good no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, come on, King. Nah, man, that series was a disappointment. I mean, and again, I know it's LA, I know it's the media market, I know they want to continue to continue to beat that drum. I get that, Ken, but man, that's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous, Ken.
Mike,
but man, yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
I think it was game 3. Russell had no points, didn't do anything. Come on.
That's what we talked about, man. We talked about those guys, Rudy, him, Reeves. We talked about those guys like they always disappear. You know, like LeBron's out there, he's doing his thing. He's trying to be consistent. When your best player on your team is 39 in a league full of young men, you in trouble. I mean, I'm just saying that cannot be your best player. That cannot be the one that you depend on to bring you through, because the legs that the games under his legs is, man, come on, man. He ain't he human. You know, I know we look at him and he's done phenomenal things, and he is human and everybody got the same knees, same ankles, same back. And you know what? There comes a time when you cannot just continue to do what you did as a young man. And it's coming to the end. And I don't know, man. The King this is a discussion that we can have. We wanted to just talk about the playoffs, but in the future we can have this discussion. But the end is near.
Oh.
Okay. The end is near. The finish line is in sight. And I know his desire to play with his son, this, that, and the other thing, and I get it. But the end is there. And so, Ken, man, there's been some good games too, bro. There's been some blowouts, but there's been some there's been some good games, man.
That Bucks Pacer game on Friday night, that was a good game.
That was a good game. It was a really good game, and the Bucks played a good game, because people don't realize Indiana hadn't been in the playoffs in years. So this was the first playoff game back in Indiana in years. And so the crowd was going to be crazy. The players were going to put in whatever they could. And the Bucks hung in there. They fought back. They took the lead.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for just a couple of things, man, they were in the driver's seat to pull that game off. So I tip my hat to the Bucks. Without Giannis, yes, they have been playing some good basketball. And like I say, who knows what could happen? I mean, crazier things happen, but that's why we named the show. That's why they play the game.
Right, exactly.
Anything could happen, Ken. But last word, my brother.
So I'll say this. once we get out, let's just results from tonight. We'll see. If OKC gets some rest as far as that's concerned, and then we'll look at. I really want to look at how the Heat is going to, play the next game after getting, let's just say, blown out. So we'll see how they bounce back.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Well, folks, as always, the sports unites us. Let us take this unity in our everyday life. This is why they play the game.